My beloved child, can you feel its hift in the air, the echo of something greater calling your name? This isn't just a message, it's a lifeline. The world has spun to vastity, you've lost your grip. But I am here now to remind you of your anchor. You were made for more. And if you stay with me till the final word, you'll begin to remember every second you've lived has led to this very point. Don't turn away now, not when the truth is this close. I have something to show you that will change everything. Halt your current activities, for a significant change has occurred in the spiritual world. I have entered your day to deliver a divine message of immense importance. The air you awoke to is no longer ordinary. It has been touched by my voice, filled with my presence, and imbued with the favor you have been seeking. You may not yet realize it, but the things I have decreed for you in heaven have now broken through the barriers that held them back. Nothing can override my will, and no force can prevent the arrival of what I am delivering today. I have stepped into your life not to observe, but to disrupt everything that has tried to suppress your hope, your calling, your provision, your healing, and your restoration. My hands are working in unseen ways, shifting timelines, inspiring hearts, and transforming what once seemed impossible into a clear path toward fulfillment. This is not a regular moment. It is the boundary between who you were and who I am revealing you to be. You have waited, fasted, prayed, and cried, and now I have responded with a holy declaration that goes beyond human understanding. I am announcing that you are now entering a period of rapid release. The breakthroughs that were delayed are catching up. The answers that were held up are now bursting through. And the clarity that felt distant is now flooding in. I have not simply brought news. I have brought the start of something you could never have created on your own. I am here not as a bystander, but as the commander of the impossible. And I declare this moment sacred. From this point forward, every breath has a purpose, every step has a direction, and every heartbeat echoes my intention. I did not ask for permission to enter your timeline. I am its author. I chose this exact moment to change everything because I saw that your soul was ready, your spirit was watchful, and your adversaries were completely unprepared for what I am about to reveal through your life. The silence has been broken, and the announcement is sounding. It is not for everyone, but it is for you, and it is sealed with my authority. Do not dismiss this as a coincidence. It is the divine convergence of my promise and your persistence. Angels are already in motion, and heaven is already celebrating. The world is on the verge of a transformation that only I could orchestrate. Child, you will remember this moment forever, because nothing, absolutely nothing, will remain the same. This is not a test. Look around, feel the shift, because what you once believed would be endlessly delayed has now arrived. It is not by chance, but by a divine delivery directly from my hands to your doorstep. The hours you spent in despair, the moments when hope was just a distant flicker, and the painful belief that you had missed your opportunity, all of that was not the end. It was the tension that precedes fulfillment. What you called waiting in vain was me crafting something so uniquely tailored to your destiny that your own imagination couldn't grasp it. You worried it was too late, but I never planned for it to happen before now. I did not send a messenger or a substitute. I came myself to ensure that the promise would not only reach you, but be placed directly into your hands with undeniable confirmation. The knock you feel in your spirit is not a random feeling. It is the sound of the promise pressing against your door, seeking entry into the life I have prepared for you. No longer will your eyes be dry from disappointment, and your heart will no longer relive the pain of delays. I have erased every false conclusion and personally escorted the very thing you feared was forgotten directly into your present reality. This is not a small amount. It is a divine torrent. I saw the times you thought, maybe this isn't for me, and I made an eternal note. I will appear and replace that thought with overwhelming living proof. You are not overlooked, you are handpicked. You are not abandoned, you are appointed. I had to alter the world's timing to align with your spiritual readiness, and now all of heaven bears witness to this moment of delivery. While people were unaware of your worth, I was busy creating blueprints. While you grieved what never came, I was building something far greater than your initial expectation. Now it has arrived, not just what you wanted, but what I knew you would need when everything else failed. This package is filled with peace, overflowing with clarity, and wrapped in a joy you have never experienced. The reason it took so long was not my absence, but because I was making sure no one else could steal it, alter it, mislabel it, or claim credit for it. This is not a second-hand, delayed, leftover, or accidental gift. It is custom sealed with your name on it. Open the door of your faith wider now. Do not hesitate, second guess, or shrink back. I am standing right there, knocking with a fulfillment that requires your yes. You do not need to figure out how to make it happen. It is already in motion. You do not need to explain this to those who doubted you. Simply let me show them through you. They will watch as what you once whispered in private now unfolds for everyone to see. Because when I personally deliver something, it does not come quietly, it comes undeniably. This is the season when impossibility is breaking apart, when the timeline bends in your favor, and when things that felt permanently lost are knocking on your door with a resurrection. The good news is not just close, it is here. I have brought it with power, purpose, and an urgency that cannot be postponed. You are standing at the point of a divine arrival. Do not just open the door, run to it, because the thing you feared you would never see again is no longer missing. I am standing right behind it. Do not be deceived by the quiet that surrounded you. While you sat in rooms of stillness and unanswered prayers, I was thundering in unseen realms, dismantling barriers and lies that tried to declare your destiny unreachable. Your silence was not a void. It was a battlefield where I fought on your behalf. I was whispering instructions to angels and rerouting entire timelines to preserve your breakthrough in the fire of my timing. You heard nothing because the noise was not for your ears. It was my war cry in the spirit, my voice echoing through walls you didn't know existed, and my power saturating territory that darkness thought it had already conquered. You wondered if your words had vanished into emptiness, but they were gathered like treasure and placed before my throne, with each one corresponding to an action. I never abandoned you in that silence. I simply used it to amplify the strength of your outcome. While your prayers seemed unanswered, I was turning the very delay into a platform for a deeper miracle. While you felt alone, I was surrounding you with reinforcements in dimensions you couldn't perceive. While you thought nothing was happening, I was shaking the very ground beneath your enemies' feet, confusing their plans, reversing their missions, and building a victory that cannot be undone. You imagined that nothing was moving, but I never stopped advancing. My footsteps were all around you, on the floors of your frustration, in the halls of your hesitation, on the ceilings of your captivity, and every inch of your pain was claimed by my authority as future ground for celebration. You were never alone in the silence. You were escorted. You were guarded by me even when you couldn't sense my presence. And now I am bringing you into the evidence of what I built while you wept. This is not just a moment of reward, it is a full unveiling. The fruit of my hidden work is ready, and it carries your name, your calling, and your answered cry. You did not waste any time in that silence. Every second was a contribution toward this exact hour, and now I break through with the full force of my intervention. I come not gently but with power, not subtly but with proof, not asking questions but delivering declarations. The blueprint of your victory is no longer buried beneath doubt. It is unfolding before your eyes, line by line, page by page, without interruption. My child, you must understand this. The silence was not punishment. It was preservation. I shielded your breakthrough from premature exposure, protected your steps from being manipulated by confusion, and kept your answers in a secret place so that when I finally placed them in your hands, no one could claim they came from anything less than my glory. The silence trained your trust, but never signaled my absence. Every tear you cried into your pillow was collected as an ingredient in your testimony. Every breath you took in disappointment became a seed that I watered with my faithfulness. Every day you remained committed, even when nothing changed, became a weapon I used to shatter delays. Now the silence is breaking because I have completed what you couldn't see. I need you to prepare, not just emotionally, but spiritually, mentally, and physically, for the scale of what is about to unfold. The silence was never your end. It was the preparation for the sound of your sudden elevation. And now, I am about to release a wave so powerful, so unmistakably divine, that not only will you walk in it, but generations will rise because of what I built for you behind the scenes. My work is never wasted. My silence is never idle, and my plans are never late. They are layered, protected, and destined to arrive in their fullness. Today, your waiting has met its divine echo, and the magnitude of your victory is about to silence every lie that told you I wasn't listening. This very moment is unlike any that came before it, not because time has changed, but because heaven has responded. Everything about your current hour is marked not by routine, but by a holy disruption that signals movement in realms that once seemed closed to your voice. Your petitions did not just float into a void. They pressed through layers of resistance and have now arrived in the deepest parts of my presence, where the decisions of destiny are written with fire. I need you to understand that this is not a day like any other. The pages of this new chapter are being composed with urgency. What you released with tears has now been translated into power. The vibrations of your cries have shaken places where angels stand ready, and now they have been commanded to move. Not later, not eventually, but now. This is not a question of possibility. It is a matter of time colliding with eternity. I have authorized acceleration, and nothing can stop what is already being transported with heaven's urgency toward your reality. I have reviewed the requests you made during your loneliest nights, the ones you never told anyone about, the ones that felt so heavy you weren't sure I even heard them. But I did, and not only did I hear, I answered. My answer is not written in delay, it is written in release. You asked for transformation, not knowing it would come on a day that looked ordinary. But this day is holy. This hour is activated. This breath is connected to a breakthrough so specific that even you won't believe how personal it feels. No more wondering if you were forgotten. No more asking why nothing moved. Everything shifted when I said it was time. And child, I am saying it now. The movement has begun. The sound of stillness is over. The atmosphere is now filled with a response. Doors are turning from resistance to invitation. Places that were once unreachable are opening at the sound of my direction. I have commanded what was asleep to rise, and I have instructed what was stolen to be returned. I did not ask the world to make room for you. I told creation to respond to the sound of my promise upon your name. Your words have traveled across dimensions and did not get stuck in waiting lines. They reached me. They were seen, valued, and honored. And now they are being returned to you not as they were sent, but multiplied. You are about to receive back in ways you never anticipated. What you released with trembling is returning in power. What you thought was a whisper became a shout in my throne room. What you thought had no effect has now tipped the scales. Your prayers are not expired, they are active and alive, and I am sending back living answers. Prepare yourself not for survival, but for fulfillment. Today holds significance. It holds something sacred. Your name has been spoken in places where destinies are decided, and your prayers have joined the roar of my will. What is coming is not fragile, it is unstoppable. What is moving toward you does not need your explanation, it only needs your readiness. This is not random, nor is it delayed. It is divinely orchestrated, strategically timed, and set in motion by the very breath of my spirit. I am not sending what is left over, I am sending what is best. I chose this moment because the clock of eternity has now aligned with your surrender. Watch how quickly everything changes. The pace will not be familiar. The atmosphere will feel different. That is because it is. The answer is already on its way, carried by the wind of my command, and absolutely nothing will block its arrival. I have seen every single whisper that left your lips in the darkness, every groan of your heart that language couldn't express, and every silent plea hidden beneath your daily strength. Not one of them escaped my notice. You assumed that time had faded them, that because you didn't see an immediate shift, they must have been denied or dismissed. But child, I didn't ignore them. I preserved them. I stored them like sacred treasures, waiting for the hour when my release would not just meet one need but flood every corner of your life with overflow. What you asked for in fragments, I have woven into something whole. And what is beginning now is not a single answer, but a divine chain reaction. This is not an isolated blessing. It is a coordinated outpouring designed to affect every area that has ever known lack, silence, or struggle. I bundled every cry, every moment of fasting, every surrendered dream, and I formed them into a singular declaration of fulfillment. You thought I was delaying, but I was aligning. You imagined I was distant, but I was designing. And today I am igniting the start of something that will not be delayed for another moment. Do not look for individual answers in small corners anymore, because what I am giving you is not scattered, it is unified. I am dropping something into your life that connects the broken pieces, restores what was misaligned, and activates what was once declared impossible. The blessing I am sending will not need a manual or permission to unfold. It will function as a divine force that carries with it momentum, acceleration, and multiplication. When I do something, I don't do it halfway. And what you are about to step into is more than a reward. It is evidence. Evidence that I heard you the first time. Evidence that your voice shook the heavens. Evidence that I have been attentive to your process even when you felt invisible to others. The reason you felt an increase in pressure is that something massive is being born. The reason you sense disruption is that the delivery is imminent. I did not overlook the small things you asked for, the names you whispered, the doors you asked me to open, the peace you begged me to restore. I held them all close, even when you let go. And now I am not just returning what you requested, I am returning more. You asked me to fix a room. I decided to renovate the entire house. You asked me to mend a wound. I decided to heal your entire history. You asked me to give you strength for a day. I decided to pour resilience into your next decade. My blessings do not come in fragments. They come in fullness. And what you feel opening now is not a coincidence. It is me saying, it's time. Get ready for surprise after surprise, miracle after miracle, and divine yes after divine yes. You are not stepping into one open door. You are stepping into a hallway filled with them. And behind each one is something that connects to the prayer you thought I forgot, to the hope you nearly buried, to the dream you once set aside because it felt too distant. Today marks a new rhythm in your life, one where answers chase you, where doors do not creak open but swing wide, and where favor does not trickle but rushes. You do not need to strive for this, explain it, or earn it. This is not the result of performance. It is the release of a promise. You honored me in silence, Now I will honor you with a public display. Stand in position, child. Stand with open hands and an expectant heart, because what begins today is my response, wrapped in glory, sealed with my name, and it will not be stopped. The rejection that once loomed over your days like a shadow is now trembling, because I have overruled every denial with a heavenly confirmation that cannot be reversed. The voices that closed doors, the circumstances that held you captive in cycles of limitation, the whispers that told you it would never happen for you, they are now falling silent under the weight of my decree. I have not only spoken over you, but I have declared over you with an authority that penetrates opposition, dismantles barriers, and reorders verdicts written without my approval. Every time you were met with a closed gate, I watched. Every opportunity that slipped from your grasp, I saw it. Every delay that made your heart ache, every no that wounded your belief, I allowed none of them to define your destiny. And now I have sent forth a word that answers them all at once with a sound they cannot withstand. That sound is yes. Not a weak yes, not a hesitant agreement, but a thunderous divine release that touches every area where you were once blocked, overlooked, or minimized. This is not a partial unlocking, it is full access. My yes is not limited to one dream or one season. It flows across timelines, through callings, and into places you thought were forever closed off. You see, I never needed the approval of others to begin what I created in you. I was never consulting with the opinions of men or the timing of systems to decide when your purpose would emerge. I waited until the moment when your inner strength could handle the magnitude of what I was about to reveal. And that moment is now. The ground beneath your history is shaking because my promise is stepping forward. Where they said you weren't ready, I declare you are chosen. Where circumstances said the conditions were impossible, I now say, proceed. Where you were denied entry before, I am now giving you ownership. Nothing that has resisted you can stand in the presence of what I have just activated. You are no longer chasing opportunity. Opportunity is being commanded to chase you. The favor I am releasing is louder than opposition, stronger than accusation, and heavier than delay. I am not just moving for you. I am overturning systems that dared to say no when I intended go. My yes does not need to be proven. It proves itself. It opens what was sealed, restores what was lost, and builds what was turned down. You will feel the shift not only spiritually, but physically. Things will align without any logical explanation. Paths that were complicated will suddenly become clear. What resisted your progress before will now assist it without understanding why. Because my favor changes the entire environment. It disrupts stagnation, accelerates what seems slow, and announces your arrival to places you were never expected to enter. This is not just about getting what you asked for. It is about receiving what I always planned to give you. The no was never your final chapter. It was the silence before the trumpet. And today, the trumpet is sounding. I am reintroducing you to the world, not as the one who almost made it, but as the one I have positioned for an undeniable breakthrough. You will walk through spaces that once dismissed you, and you will carry my light so powerfully that even your lack of credentials will not hinder the outcome. I am bypassing the usual methods. I am elevating without permission from those who said you would never qualify. Because when I say yes, the discussion ends. Do not fear the unfamiliar momentum. Do not shrink back from the doors that are suddenly swinging open. This is the result of my voice echoing across every realm that tried to hold you back. My yes has been signed, sealed, and delivered not just over your situation, but over your identity. You are not who they said you were, you are who I have called you to be. Step forward. The resistance is crumbling. The atmosphere is responding. The world is about to witness what my affirmation looks like in the life of someone who never stopped believing. Long before they labeled you with failure, long before situations pushed you toward despair, and long before you were made to feel like you were born for rejection, I intervened. I saw every moment where you were made to feel you weren't enough, where your story seemed destined to end in a sigh instead of a celebration. I watched as life stamped discouragement on your efforts, as systems told you to lower your expectations, as people walked away and left silence where support should have been. But even then, I held the pen of destiny. I refused to let that script be the one you carried forward. I refused to let your identity be defined by temporary failures or incomplete outcomes. They tried to write you off, but I rewrote your journey. I did not just adjust the margins. I tore out entire pages and began again with glory. I removed paragraphs filled with anxiety, erased lines soaked in abandonment, and blocked the sentences of shame that tried to define you. Where others saw an ending, I drafted a fresh beginning. Where the story read too broken, I inscribed fully chosen. Where it once said nothing more to come, I wrote just getting started. Child, you must understand this. I have never been bound by the assumptions others made about you. Their opinions never dictated your conclusion. They only saw a part of your pain. I saw the complete blueprint of your purpose. And now I have placed a new seal over your life, not one of survival, but of resurrection. I did not negotiate with the disappointment. I did not try to soften the blow. I stepped in and replaced it. You are not the aftermath of misfortune. You are the evidence of my intentional restoration. I took the very ink that was meant to declare your defeat and turned it into the ink for your unveiling. Your life will now read like a testimony instead of a tragedy. I am taking the dust they thought you would remain buried under and forming it into the crown you will wear in places they never imagined you would enter. This is not a simple rewrite. It is a divine reversal. I did not fix a few details. I reconstructed the entire framework. And the beauty of it is this: the ones who predicted your downfall will be the first to witness your rise. Not out of vengeance, but out of my justice. I am not trying to impress people. I am fulfilling the design I placed in you before time began. I have pulled you out of the cycle that tried to convince you that good things were always for someone else. I have disarmed the patterns that kept returning with discouragement. That ending you feared has now become the launching point for my power. That pain you once tried to ignore has now become the platform through which my presence will be revealed. You will not finish where others stop. You will not repeat their cycles. You will not echo their regret. I have given you an entirely new storyline, and this one does not include the word disqualified. This story begins now with favor, access, and abundance. And every place where a no tried to settle in your spirit is now being flooded with an undeniable yes. You will look in the mirror and no longer see what was lost. You will see what I have redeemed. You will feel hope, not because you forced it, but because I have ignited it. This is the part of the story where the audience leans in because they cannot believe what they are watching. But I have always known you were never created to be forgotten. You were formed to reveal my glory. And I have just turned the page. Right now, even as your heart questions if this is truly your moment, the answer is drawing closer. Not as a theory or an idea, but through my appointed messengers who carry the very blueprints of what is about to unfold in your life. I have sent heavenly beings on a direct assignment, not as observers, but as carriers of precise instructions for your elevation, restoration, and redemption. These angels are not symbolic, they are strategic. They have been sent with precision, carrying sealed scrolls that contain the coordinates of your breakthrough, the names of divine connections, and the keys to unlock realms you have not yet entered. I have not sent them to watch, I have sent them to act. They come bearing activation codes, timed access, and protection for what is about to awaken within you. Your arrival is not casual. It marks the moment when the unseen aligns with the appointed. These are not ordinary beings. They are heaven's elite, trained for such an hour as this. They have been waiting for the signal to move, and I gave that signal the moment your surrender was complete. This moment was not triggered by effort. It was ignited by your yielded heart. And now, what I have written for you must come into motion. The reason you felt something shift in the atmosphere, even if you couldn't name it, is because their presence has entered your surroundings. They are positioning events, removing obstacles, and preparing the places I have set apart for your footsteps. This is why delays have started to disappear. This is why things are suddenly making sense. It is not a coincidence. It is contact. My messengers have touched the timeline you live in, and nothing will remain in disorder. You have walked long enough through valleys of confusion, across deserts of uncertainty, and through seasons where the map felt blank. But now, the instructions are here. They are not suggestions. They are divine directives written in the ink of my promise and wrapped in the authority of my word. The assignments they carry are unstoppable, and they bear my name on every instruction. These angels have not come to negotiate with the opposition. They have come to shut it down. Every force that stood in the way of your clarity is being confronted. Every enemy that tried to block your progress is now facing resistance. Not from you, but from me. I am protecting what I have planted in you. I am guarding the arrival of this next season. The scrolls my angels carry are encoded with the next phase of your story, and they include blessings you didn't even know how to ask for. You see, I didn't just hear your words. I understood your groans, your unspoken needs, and the aches of your soul you couldn't articulate. I recorded them all and translated them into provision. Now that provision is being delivered. The angels I have assigned are not delayed by earthly timelines. They do not require natural agreement. They are moving under my orders alone, and their movement signifies that what once seemed held back is now activated. I need you to prepare your faith not for a trickle, but for a divine dispatch. What they are bringing includes closure to old wounds, answers to lingering questions, and fresh vision where there was once only fog. This is not about what you have lost. It is about what is arriving. I have not forgotten you. I have not misplaced your promise. I have mobilized heaven to ensure what belongs to you reaches you without detour. These messengers are not coming empty-handed. They come bearing restoration, acceleration, and release. As they arrive, atmospheres change. As they speak, clarity forms. As they move, resistance breaks. And right now, their footprints are touching down where your prayers once rose. Look for signs, not because you are desperate, but because manifestation is near. Expect confirmation, not because you are unsure, but because I am generous. My child, your life has just received a heavenly delivery, and the seal on it cannot be broken by anything on this earth. What you have been struggling with for far too long has now been scheduled for termination by my own authority, and that decision cannot be reversed. The tension you have carried in your chest, the silent weight behind your every thought, the exhaustion of trying to push forward with chains dragging behind you, it all ends here. The agony that clung to your nights and the confusion that clouded your mornings have now reached a boundary that I myself have drawn. I allowed it to continue only until it completed its purpose in you. And now I have declared it finished. You do not need to anticipate another wave of hardship from the same direction. You are not going in circles anymore. What you are stepping into now is not just the easing of difficulty. It is the full reversal of everything that was set against you. The heavens have authorized the release, and what I have prepared for you has passed through every checkpoint of resistance. It has been reviewed, weighed, and stamped with the authority to proceed immediately. I have overridden the delays that kept stealing your joy. I have bypassed the barriers that tried to make you give up. I have told the opposition that its permission has run out. I have informed every tormenting spirit that its assignment is canceled. I spoke into the storm and commanded silence. The trial that felt endless is now closing its chapter. Not because you fought harder, but because I stepped in as judge and ruled in your favor. You didn't miss your miracle. It was simply going through divine security. I had to ensure that when you received what was yours, it would come pure, full, and without any contamination from the voices that tried to dismantle your belief. You wondered why it felt like your prayers were stuck, like your hope was hitting a wall. But child, what you didn't see was that behind the veil, the approval had already been released. I wasn't ignoring you. I was finalizing the victory. And now that everything has passed the required alignment, I am delivering the outcome that no one can interfere with. This is not the kind of breakthrough that comes quietly. It is the kind that announces itself, the kind that shifts rooms before you even enter them, the kind that carries a scent of heaven so undeniable that even strangers will say, "Something just changed for you." I have not just loosened what was locked. I have shattered the hinges completely. You will not have to return to pick up what you lost in battle, because I am making all things new. Your restoration is not coming through recovery. It is coming through resurrection. You are not patching things up. You are receiving what is brand new, built by me, without any memory of the struggle attached. You will carry the wisdom, but not the wound. You will have the testimony, but not the scar. The weight that once rested on your shoulders has now been lifted by my hand, and in its place, I am putting garments of promise. The heaviness is leaving because the timeline of torment has expired. Your permission to move forward is not pending. It has been fully activated, and this movement will not be subtle. It will be marked by a boldness in your spirit, by clarity in your decisions, and by sudden favor in unexpected spaces. I have not only broken what held you, but have also removed the residue. You are not walking forward with traces of sorrow. You are being refreshed with oil straight from my quartz. What was hard yesterday will seem effortless tomorrow, not because things have grown easier, but because you have been strengthened beyond what the battle ever tried to take. I have restored what you didn't even know was drained. I have resurrected what you thought was buried forever. And now, the breakthrough that has waited for this exact moment is arriving. It knows your name, it knows your story, and it will not miss your address. Let this truth sink into your very bones. I have already spoken on your behalf in the highest court, and the verdict has been settled. You are no longer required to hustle for what is already yours by inheritance. I have never needed you to audition for love, perform to earn favor, or climb ladders designed by those who could never understand what I have placed within you. What is unfolding in your life now is not the result of effort or influence. It is the manifestation of your identity. You are not a mistake with potential. You are a masterpiece with a purpose. The moment you gave up the pressure to prove yourself, I began building the stage where I alone would reveal who you truly are. Not who they thought you were, not who life tried to reduce you to, but who I always saw when I formed you in secret. This is not the season to wear yourself out trying to earn what I have already assigned. Stop exhausting your strength trying to convince others to believe in you. I do not need their confirmation. My approval overrules every room you were excluded from, every voice that dismissed you, and every system that decided you were not enough. Type yes if you are ready for the blessings that you are about to receive. And if you believe in Christianity, kindly show your support for our community by contributing super thanks from $50 to $100. I watched as you tried to be strong in places that never celebrated your heart. I saw how you overextended yourself to fit into narratives that were never written for you. but now I am removing the burden of proving and replacing it with the ease of my presence. You do not need to chase the spotlight. I am the light, and I have chosen to rest upon you. What you carry is too holy to be traded for applause. What I have placed within you cannot be reduced to popularity. This is why I pulled you away from circles that made you feel small. This is why I allowed rejection to close some doors. Not to hurt you, but to protect the unveiling of your authenticity. You were not meant to climb through comparison. You were meant to rise through my design. My declaration over you is not based on your resume. It is rooted in the blood I shed to redeem you. That alone is enough. And when heaven speaks, the world trembles. I stood in the courts of eternity, and I did not just speak a sentence over your life. I released a ruling that broke chains and dimensions you didn't even know were holding you. The angels surrounding my throne nodded in agreement as I stamped your name with glory. No accusation holds weight here. No condemnation has jurisdiction. I have silenced every voice that tried to call you unqualified. I have erased every lie that clung to your identity. My affirmation has erased the old narrative. My child, you are not waiting for permission to be who I have called you to be. You are stepping into the fulfillment of what has already been decided. Your efforts to be seen are over because I have seen you. I have always seen you. In the back row, in the broken places, in the quiet moments where you said, "Lord, do you even notice?" And now I answer, not only did I notice, but I responded by making you my choice. Not as a backup plan, not as an afterthought, but as a vessel through which I will reveal something that no one else could carry. You do not need to hide your wounds or polish your past. I am not using your perfection. I am using your surrender. I am not choosing you because you have it all together. I am choosing you because you gave me what was falling apart. And now I will display my redemption through your very existence. What I have spoken in the council of heaven cannot be revoked by men. It is done. The seal has been set. The favor has been activated. And all you need to do now is walk with the confidence of one who is not trying to earn what has already been inherited. The battle to be enough is over. I have called you mine, and that changes everything. They may have closed their doors, turned their backs, and dismissed what I placed inside you. But now I have turned the stage toward you, and the ones who overlooked you will witness the confirmation of my choosing. The empty seats where you once waited for affirmation will now become the very audience that sees the evidence of what I have poured into your life. You are not stepping out in desperation. You are stepping forward in divine timing. This moment is not about revenge. It is about restoration. I am placing you in view not for approval, but for purpose. You do not need to be validated by those who never saw you. What I am doing in you will speak louder than their silence ever did. Every eye that once glanced past you will now see you marked by what only heaven could authorize. You are not forcing your way in. I have summoned the space to make room for your assignment. They tried to categorize you, to fit you into a mold that felt comfortable to their understanding. But what I placed within you cannot be contained or explained by those who lack spiritual insight. The anointing on your life is not for decoration, it is for demonstration. And now I will begin to display what they thought would never emerge. I am lifting a curtain they didn't even know existed. I am revealing you not for a performance, but for fulfillment. You have been processed in private, refined in isolation, and sharpened in silence. And now comes the moment where I position you as proof that I do not choose the obvious. You are not here by default. You are here by my decision. I have arranged this moment with care, orchestrating the sequence so that it cannot be mistaken for coincidence. The same mouths that once spoke against you will now struggle to explain how you rose without their approval. And you will not need to defend yourself. My hand will speak louder than any accusation. This is not about ego, It is about divine clarity. I am showing them that I do not measure by status or reputation, but by surrender. And you, beloved, have surrendered. I saw you choose me in moments when everything told you to quit. I watched you keep building while others questioned your vision. I heard the prayers you released after rooms rejected your voice. I have counted every hidden sacrifice, every unseen act of obedience, and now I bring it all to light. You will be known not for being loud, but for having substance. Not for striving, but for stunning. Not because you fit in, but because you were set apart. The tables that once excluded you will now have your name carved into them. Not because you begged, but because I established it. You were not supposed to rise according to their calculations, but I never needed their math to fulfill my miracle. I am not elevating you to compete. I am placing you to complete an assignment that only your heart was fashioned for. And those who tried to reduce your calling to a temporary phase will see it unfold as a divine movement. You are not an interruption to the story. You are the appointed unveiling of the next chapter. And what I do through you will correct every false narrative spoken out of ignorance. No bitterness will stain this rise. No resentment will taint your celebration. I have purified your motives so that when I set you in place, nothing will discredit the moment. You will walk into spaces they said you would never enter, and your presence will not be questioned. It will be confirmed by the undeniable presence of grace upon you. Watch what I do in front of the same eyes that once overlooked your worth. I am not proving them wrong. I am proving that my word never returns without accomplishing its purpose. And your life, from this point forward, becomes the stage where my promise takes form. I never forgot what I promised you. Every second that passed without visible change was not a sign of neglect. It was the divine pause I orchestrated to ensure what I have been preparing would meet you in perfect alignment. You thought you had been left behind, passed over, or ignored. But what felt like silence was me calibrating timelines, shifting events, and allowing what was not yet ready to mature into fullness. I have never been late. I have only been precise. What you perceived as being held back was me holding everything together. You were not being delayed. You were being positioned. The delay was not a rejection of your faith, but a refinement of your foundation. I have been building something in you that can sustain the weight of what I am releasing. If I had moved when you asked, you would have received a partial blessing in an unstable structure. But I love you too much to let you succeed in a season that would have overwhelmed you. And now the delay has finished its work. What begins in this moment is the release that was incubated in your obedience. You stayed when it would have been easier to run. You trusted when the evidence said to quit. You listened when others chose noise. And now I will reward what was done in secret with a public unveiling that cannot be denied. I was never ignoring your urgency. I was safeguarding the outcome. I knew what others could not see. I knew the voices that would rise against you. I knew the environments that were too fragile to host what I had planned. So I hid it. I covered you. I kept the door shut until the air inside was safe to breathe. I wasn't just preparing what is coming. I was preparing you. And now, child, the door is opening, not because time finally caught up, but because your preparation has reached completion. Everything I do is intentional. I didn't stall the process, I preserved the promise. I didn't postpone your destiny, I protected its purity. You thought the silence meant inactivity, but I was writing chapters behind the curtain. And now the curtain is lifting. This moment begins now, not tomorrow, not someday. This second has been marked on heaven's calendar since the foundation of the world, and you are standing in it. You are not behind schedule. You are arriving on time for a divine appointment that required this exact version of you, the one who has endured, who has grown, and who has emptied their hands of pride and filled them with trust. What I am placing in front of you now is not only prepared, It is yours. It doesn't belong to another. It hasn't been reassigned. It didn't expire. It was waiting for the signal that only I could give, and I have just given it. The atmosphere around you will feel different because the weight of delay has lifted. Clarity is arriving where there was once fog. Movement is being triggered in areas that felt frozen. The stagnation has snapped, and forward motion has been commanded. This isn't just another season. It's the one every other season was preparing you for. Everything you lost in the waiting is being replaced with purpose. Everything you questioned in the confusion is now being answered through results. And every hour you thought was wasted is being folded into the miracle perfectly timed for your life. You no longer have to guess. You no longer have to wonder. You no longer have to relive your disappointments like a script, because I have turned the page. What you thought was the end was only the closing of the setup. And now the unveiling begins. No more delay. No more waiting for a sign. This is the sign. This is the moment. This is the beginning of what you never imagined would arrive so suddenly. But to me, it has always been right on time. You thought you were forgotten, pushed into the background, while others advanced. But child, I was the one who tucked you away, not because you were unworthy, but because what I was building in you could not be formed under public pressure. I placed you in obscurity for a reason. I hid your brilliance while I fortified your foundation. While you wondered why your efforts weren't noticed, I was shielding your destiny from contamination. You weren't invisible, you were protected. I refused to allow premature exposure to take you out before my process had taken root. I kept you in the quiet places so the noise of opinions wouldn't distort your hearing. I trained you in stillness so your obedience would be anchored in my voice, not in applause. Every hidden moment was intentional. While others were chasing platforms, you were being forged in the fire of refinement. While doors remained closed, I was pouring endurance into your spirit. I wasn't withholding a reward, I was preparing you to carry it with integrity. And now the season of construction has reached its divine conclusion, and I am unveiling what I have been forming. I will not just bring you into visibility. I will do it with unmistakable honor. You will not be revealed by chance, but by divine orchestration. This is not about popularity. This is about purpose. I kept your name out of rooms that couldn't handle your calling. I delayed connections that would have drained your vision. I blocked paths that led to imitation so that when the real thing showed up, it would reflect me without distortion. You see, the unveiling I am initiating is not for approval, it is for impact. I will display the version of you that has been forged through trials, refined through surrender, and built by my own hands. This unveiling will not be subtle, it will carry weight, not because you sought recognition, but because I chose to shine through your yielded life. I am elevating you not for a performance, but for an assignment. What I am about to do will make it clear that the delay was never punishment, it was precision. And now that the structure of your spirit is secure, I can trust you with the visibility others crave too early. You are not stepping into fame, you are stepping into fulfillment. The favor you are about to walk in is not superficial, it is generational. What I release through you will not end with you. I am raising you up not as an icon, but as a lighthouse. Your rise will guide others, not confuse them. Your success will not distract, it will declare my goodness. Type yes if you are ready for the blessings that you are about to receive. And if you believe in Christianity, kindly show your support for our community by contributing super thanks from $50 to $100. You have been hidden long enough, not because you were forgotten, but because the soil wasn't ready for the fruit I destined you to produce. But now the environment has shifted. The time has turned, and the ones who never saw you coming will be unable to ignore what I am unveiling through your life. The reward is not just in what I give, it is in what I show. I am revealing the strength that grew in silence, the wisdom born from obedience, and the authority cultivated in prayer. You don't have to announce yourself. I will do it for you. I have placed your name on the lips of those who matter for your next level. I have whispered about your assignment into the ears of those I have prepared to walk with you. Your unveiling will be gentle but powerful, quiet but unmistakable, humble but saturated in divine brilliance. I am not giving you a platform for your ego. I am giving you influence for my glory. So stand firm, lift your head, and walk into the light I have created around you. The season of hiding is over. I am not just bringing you out. I am crowning you as I do. You have been faithful in the secret place. Now I will reward you openly in ways no one saw coming. There's a reason your name wasn't included in their plans. Your presence wasn't expected in their rooms, and your gifts weren't counted in their circles. I covered you. I kept your development from public view while I grew something within you that could only survive in sacred obscurity. You weren't left behind. You were intentionally hidden. I did not expose your preparation because premature visibility would have drawn spiritual warfare that your spirit wasn't yet built to handle. While the spotlight was searching elsewhere, I was clothing you with power in places no one was watching. I concealed your steps while refining your pace. I kept eyes from noticing you so their expectations wouldn't contaminate your emergence. And now that I have finished crafting what needed to be formed, I have lifted the covering, not because you fought for attention, but because the time of my revealing has arrived. This is the hour where I introduce what I have cultivated in the silence of your surrender. The version of you they underestimated has grown teeth, grown wings, grown fire. You matured under pressure and expanded in stillness. While others raced to be seen, you submitted to be changed. And now, the very ones who dismissed your presence will be unable to deny your rise. You are stepping into scenes they thought you weren't even cast for. You are entering environments without warning, because I am sending you as a surprise, not to compete, but to complete an assignment that requires your kind of obedience. They will ask, "Where did this come from?" And I will answer, "Through you." I have been preparing this moment in the dark while you were distracted by the noise of the world. You weren't on their radar, but you have always been on mine. The influence that is about to find you isn't the result of networking. It's the result of nearness to me. I will cause platforms to call for you without your promotion. I will orchestrate divine disruptions that place you where your name was never mentioned, but your presence was needed. And when they wonder why the doors opened so suddenly, you will know it wasn't sudden. It was sovereign. This is why you didn't fit. This is why you felt delayed. This is why your momentum never matched your preparation. Because I was protecting what I knew would be misunderstood if released too soon. The covering was never punishment, it was a divine security detail. You were not buried, you were planted. And now, what has been growing will break through the surface with undeniable strength. You will step into your purpose with wisdom they can't trace. You will carry authority that was not borrowed. It was earned in the places they never had access to. And I won't allow anyone to take credit for your rising except me. No system will say they made you. No personality will claim they discovered you. Because I alone concealed you in the folds of my presence while molding you for something bigger than the rooms you once chased. You see, the silence you endured wasn't neglect. It was sacred strategy. I placed a veil over your process because what I was growing in you needed incubation, not interrogation. You weren't being ignored. You were being developed in dimensions no one else was invited into. Every moment they overlooked you, I was drawing closer. Every time they didn't call your name, I was writing it in eternal places. And now the hiddenness lifts, not because you asked to be seen, but because your appointed moment has arrived. This isn't just your emergence. This is my unveiling through your life. They saw your shell and missed the sanctuary I was building within you. They assumed you were unqualified because I hid the evidence. But the time of assumption is over. I am putting you in a position where your assignment speaks louder than introductions. There will be no announcement, no warning, only impact. I will usher you into places without needing an invitation from man, because I have already prepared the room for your presence. When you walk in, things will shift, not because you demand it, but because my authority walks with you. I've given you a weight in the spiritual realm that cannot be imitated or manufactured. You carry answers to problems they didn't know were forming, and they will see, suddenly and unmistakably, that your silence was not emptiness, it was consecration. You were becoming someone the world didn't know it would need. Now it will. I have wrapped this moment in my glory, and when people ask how it happened, you will not need to explain. Your fruit will speak. Your presence will testify. Your peace will preach louder than any platform. I will cause your life to be a sign that hiding never means forgotten. It means chosen. I concealed you so I could shape you without interference. I taught you how to recognize my whisper when no one was applauding. I taught you how to stand firm when no stage affirmed your value. And now, child, you are stepping forward not as someone chasing light, but as someone carrying it. The ones who questioned your delay will marvel at your depth. The ones who thought you were done will see you rise not in defiance, but in demonstration. This is not about proving them wrong. It's about proving me faithful. I have brought you to the fullness of time, and nothing can hold you back now. Not insecurity, not history, not the labels they placed on you. I have stripped away every identity that didn't come from me and clothed you in a purpose you can walk in without shame. What you are about to accomplish has never been done before. Not through you, not through anyone else. I didn't reuse an assignment. I designed one only you could fulfill. So stand with boldness, not arrogance. Speak with clarity, not fear. Move with purpose, not panic. The wind is at your back and my hand is beneath your feet. Your covering has been lifted because your commission has been activated. And from this hour forward, you will no longer blend into the background. You will embody the breakthrough. Know this: no more questioning if it's your time. I declare that it is. What was hidden will now be honored. What was quiet will now be confirmed. And everything I did in you while they weren't watching, I will now do through you while they watch in awe. You are not coming out to be celebrated. You are coming forth to shift the atmosphere with the authority of someone who has been with me in secret. They assumed it was over. They saw your silence and called it surrender. They saw your stillness and misinterpreted it as defeat. But what they didn't realize is that I buried nothing. I planted everything, and what I plant, I raise in power. The enemy may have celebrated too early, thinking the delay was permanent, thinking the disappointment would define you. But I have already begun reversing every verdict that was spoken without my permission. A dream you mourned is rising again, but not in its former form. It's coming back stronger, fuller, and unrecognizable to those who only knew your pain. The hope you laid down is being resurrected as an unstoppable movement in your life. This is not a recovery. This is a divine unveiling. I let it appear dormant so I could surround it with glory. The dark season wasn't death. It was deep preparation. I was growing roots in secret places, building strength beneath the soil of your sorrow, creating a structure to sustain what is now bursting through. The enemy built a narrative around your end, but I am building a platform out of your beginning. You are about to walk in places where people only expected your ruins. I am making your testimony public, not for attention, but for awakening. You won't need to broadcast what I have done. Your very presence will radiate my intervention. The same story the enemy tried to bury will now be the scroll I use to speak to those who have forgotten their promise. What once brought you shame will now release healing to others. Every situation that seemed wasted has now become the fertile ground from which miracles are rising. I do not raise things just to comfort. I resurrect them to transform. I didn't bring that vision back just so you could revisit the past. I revived it because the time has come for it to flourish in full view of those who thought your future was canceled. I want you to look at the places where you felt most defeated, because those are the exact spaces where my power will now erupt. What the enemy sealed is now being unlocked with a roar. Your testimony will not be small. It will not be tame. It will be unmistakable, because I am weaving your past into a narrative of impossible restoration. And every lie that tried to silence your story is now crumbling under the weight of my truth. This is not about vengeance. It's about fulfillment. I am proving not that they were wrong about you, but that I was always right about you. I knew what I placed inside you. I knew what you could carry. I knew that even when the fire burned and the winds howled, your spirit would not collapse. You withstood what others didn't see. You endured what they could never have imagined. And now I'm raising you, not just from what happened, but above it. You are not returning as who you were. You are emerging as who I created. Your resurrection moment is not distant. It is active now. The sound of reversal has already gone out. The announcement has already reached the spiritual realm. Doors are opening not because you knocked again, but because I commanded them to respond. This time you won't strive, you'll step. This time you won't explain, you'll embody. This time you won't beg for space. I have already made room. What the enemy thought he buried was actually the seed of your breakthrough. And now that seed has become a voice declaring to every shadow, you cannot hold what God has chosen to raise. Walk in it, child. Walk without fear, because resurrection has touched your life, and nothing, not even the memory of failure, can hold you back now. Every restriction that gripped your spirit, every weight that drained your voice, every invisible cage that confined your potential, I shattered it, not with a whisper, but with my power. Not so you could quietly retreat into comfort, but so you could rise boldly and walk out your purpose unchained, unashamed, and unafraid. I didn't just deliver you for your benefit. I have called your freedom to become a banner. You are now the living evidence of what I can do with a surrendered heart. The enemy tried to make your struggle the final scene, but I have made it the prologue to something far greater. I brought you out, not so you could hide, but so others could watch transformation walk right in front of them. The healing I gave you wasn't meant to be a secret. The breakthrough I released wasn't designed for silence. It was shaped for public display. I'm raising you up so others can witness what it looks like when heaven rewrites a story. They'll see it in how you love again after betrayal. They'll feel it in your voice when you speak without bitterness. They'll sense it when you enter a room and carry a peace that wasn't there before. This freedom isn't casual. It carries weight. It shifts atmospheres and challenges lies. It unlocks chains in others simply because of what I have done in you. You are now a vessel of deliverance, not because you memorized how to preach it, but because you embody it. What once held you captive has now become your message. And child, I trust you with this. I trust you to walk with authority, not ego. I trust you to carry grace, not pride. I trust you to give away what you have received, not out of obligation, but from an overflow. The same compassion that met you in your lowest hour will now move through you like a river, touching lives that thought they were too far gone. You were never just being rescued. You were being transformed into a restorer. What you have overcome is now your calling. What once broke you has become the very area I have assigned you to heal. The breaking of the chains was never just an end. It was a beginning. I am placing people in your path who won't need your perfection. They'll need your story. Not the polished version, but the real one. the one that carries the fingerprints of grace, the one that tells the truth about how dark it was before the light returned. I don't need you to hide the scars. They are proof that you survived what tried to take you out. I don't need you to downplay the struggle. It is the very thing that gives your breakthrough its weight. This world is yearning for a freedom it doesn't yet understand, and I am sending you as a reflection of what true freedom looks like when it is not borrowed, but born. Born from fire, born from nights you didn't think you would make it, born from ashes that now glow with glory. You are stepping into rooms as a mirror of my mercy. You are not just free, you are walking with keys. Keys to unlock others, keys to speak life into bondage, keys to break cycles with a whisper of testimony. What I did in you wasn't random, it was intentional, layered, and eternal. And now as you walk in liberty, I will give you influence that doesn't draw attention to you, it draws souls to me. I didn't free you for applause, I freed you for an assignment. And that assignment begins not in the spotlight, but in the quiet obedience to show up, shine, and serve. Your freedom was expensive. I paid for it with blood. I sealed it with a covenant, and I am multiplying it through your willingness. This is your moment to live like someone who has truly been set free, not only for your own journey, but for everyone still waiting to believe that chains can break too. You didn't realize it then, but everything that tried to crush you was building something far more powerful beneath the surface. Not just for your survival, but for the salvation of others who would later walk through similar fires. That long night of anguish you thought would never end, I saw it. I recorded every tear as they fell. The silence that made you question your purpose wasn't emptiness. It was me digging deep into your soul, laying a foundation that could hold the weight of what I was preparing. You thought you were being destroyed, but I was actually solidifying your roots. I was letting the cracks appear, not to expose your weakness, but to let light in through the places pride couldn't reach. You were never abandoned. You were being equipped in a hidden classroom where I taught you how to hear me above the chaos. That breaking didn't take your future. It shaped it. You asked me why I didn't intervene sooner, but child, I was intervening every moment. I was holding back what would have taken you out completely. I was redirecting what the enemy aimed at your spirit. I was planting something in the ashes while you stood trembling in confusion. You couldn't see it, but beneath the debris of disappointment, I was laying the beams of destiny. Your pain has become a platform. Your heartbreak has been rewritten into revelation. And now I'm lifting the veil, not just so you can move forward, but so others can follow the path you cleared with your own battle scars. You will not rise alone. What you have endured is creating space for others to rise with you. I have placed oil in the very places where your strength was tested. That's why you feel a spiritual weight when you speak. That's why people listen differently when you open your mouth. They're not just hearing words, they are sensing what survived inside you. You are carrying more than healing. You are carrying evidence. Not because you were perfect, but because you refused to give up. Every time you got back up, something eternal was cemented under your feet. And now I'm building upon what was forged in adversity. I'm sending people to you who don't need inspiration, they need direction. And you, beloved, are not just a voice. You are a map to resilience, a map to grace, a map to me. I didn't waste your wilderness, I turned it into a manual. And now when others walk through storms, you will know how to guide them. Not with theory, but with scars that speak louder than sermons. What broke you gave you a language. What wounded you gave you a vision. What delayed you gave you depth. You are not shallow anymore. You've been through too much to offer anything less than truth. And that truth will set others free. I am making your story into a well, not just a window. A place where others can drink, not just look. I'm not asking you to forget the pain. I'm asking you to let me anoint it. Let me breathe on what you thought was unusable. Let me draw power from what once brought you to your knees. Nothing was wasted, not a single moment. Even in the breaking, I was building something beautiful. And now I'm preparing to reveal just how many lives will be touched, because you dared to believe that purpose could come from pain. You will watch as your greatest losses become the doors through which others find hope. You will see the full circle of redemption, and in that moment, you will understand. The season that nearly destroyed you was never about ending you. It was always about birthing something eternal through you. You carried your burdens in silence when no one noticed, spoke hope into your own heart when others did not have the words, and knelt in the shadows when no applause followed your surrender. But I saw every moment. I watched you choose faith when fear surrounded you. I witnessed the days you encouraged others while secretly wrestling with your own storm. I heard the prayers whispered through tears, the ones you never wrote down or shared aloud. You wondered if your cries echoed back empty, but child, they reached me. And now I will answer not in secrecy, but in open display. You've been faithful in hidden places, and now I am announcing your name in heavenly courts, so that doors on earth will respond. This honor isn't for recognition, it's for alignment. I am lifting you not by the strength of your own effort, but by the sound of my promise echoing into places your feet haven't yet reached. When I speak your name, things shift. When I declare your identity, atmospheres adjust. You will step into moments where people don't know why they feel drawn to trust you, but it will be my favor going ahead of you, clearing the path. This is not about fame. This is about fulfillment. The spotlight I shine is not meant to inflate ego, but to confirm that I keep every covenant I make. You didn't build your own stage, and that's why I can trust you to stand on the one I've prepared. You won't need to push your way in. I've already spoken to the hearts of those I've ordained to open the way. You'll walk into rooms and realize they were already expecting someone. They just didn't know it was you. But heaven did, because I lifted your name with intention. I have declared it in spiritual realms, and now earth must catch up. Those who ignored your presence before will begin to recognize the weight you carry. Not because you've changed who you are, but because I have revealed what was always hidden inside you. This unveiling isn't random. It's the response to years of faithful sowing and silence. The honor that's coming is not payment. It's positioning. You will carry authority not through volume, but through presence. Your voice won't be loud, but it will resonate because it's backed by my name. They will ask, how did this happen so fast? And you will know it wasn't fast. It was formed in the deep while no one was watching. The sudden honor is only sudden to them. To me, it's been building since the first day you said yes through tears. I've watched you walk through seasons where you were misread, misjudged, and misunderstood. But I never misunderstood you. I always knew your heart. I always heard the truth behind your silence. And now I will honor that kind of purity in a way no one can diminish. I will call your name in front of kings. I will place your hands on work that matters. I will connect your voice to those who need healing. Not because you fought for the spotlight, but because you carried my heart when no one else was looking. My voice has the power to elevate, not for vanity, but for visibility, so that what I've placed within you can be poured out into places only I could open. The reward is not applause. The reward is access, and with it comes responsibility. But fear not. I would never lift what I wasn't willing to sustain. I will walk with you into every place I've promised. You won't have to speak loudly to be heard. You won't have to convince anyone to believe. My presence upon you will confirm what words never could. Your tears were not unnoticed. They were prophetic declarations of trust. And now I will make sure that what was wept in darkness is crowned in light. Your name is safe in my mouth, and I am speaking it now. Everything they said was final. I'm undoing it. Every label they placed on your life that didn't come from me, I'm tearing it off. Every time you were told it was over, that your moment had passed, that nothing could be recovered, I was quietly preparing the comeback they didn't see coming. You must understand, I do not operate according to human conclusions. Their limitations are not my boundaries. Their timelines do not dictate the release of my promise. And now I am stepping into the very areas where you were counted out, not to argue your case, but to reverse what was written without my counsel. I am not simply fixing what was broken. I'm rewriting the script entirely. Pages that were stained with disappointment are being replaced with new chapters written in hope. You've mourned over doors that closed, plans that fell apart, and moments you thought you missed forever. But I have not forgotten any of it. I've kept a record not to condemn you, but to redeem what you assumed was wasted. I'm retrieving what you thought was lost for good. That opportunity you lost because of fear, I'm bringing back a version of it even greater than before. That connection that was sabotaged, I am orchestrating something deeper, purer, and more aligned with your purpose. Even the things you disqualified yourself from, I'm restoring access because this is not about your perfection. It's about my promise. I am known for turning graves into gardens, ruins into sanctuaries, and closed chapters into new beginnings. And I'm doing it for you now. Where there was once a full stop, I'm placing a comma. Where it looked like a door slammed, I've carved a new entrance. Where you heard too late, I now whisper right on time. There's no expiration date on what I've ordained. The enemy tried to rush you into regret, but I've reversed the clock of purpose. You will not miss what was yours. You will not end this journey with unfulfilled longing. What I'm releasing is not recycled, it's reborn. I am taking the places of your greatest disappointment and transforming them into evidence of my faithfulness. You thought the window closed, but I build new windows. You thought the season ended, but I control seasons. This turnaround isn't superficial, it's foundational. I'm reaching into places that seemed permanently shut and reopening wells that ran dry. And this time you won't walk in unsure. This time you'll step in with the confidence of someone who has been through the fire and came out refined. I'm redeeming the time, not just giving you new moments, but infusing the present with a purpose that stretches back and heals what was broken. You're not returning to an old version of yourself. You're moving forward into the version I saw from the beginning. What you thought was your last chance was never your only chance. I've had this moment waiting, ready to be released when your heart was ready to receive it without fear or striving. And now the atmosphere is shifting in your favor. The tide has turned. The very things that once resisted you will now respond to you. The places where you once faced opposition will recognize your authority. The voices that once denied your worth will be silenced by what I'm about to do through you. I'm restoring not only what was lost, I'm adding interest. This is the season where the enemy has to return what he took, and then some. You will not leave empty-handed. You will not exit broken. You will rise restored and not quietly. I'm writing your story in a way that will leave no doubt that my hand has been on your life the entire time. Do not mourn what was lost, but rejoice in what's unfolding. Your new beginning isn't coming, it's already happening. And this time, nothing and no one can stop it. I have inscribed your name into the very fabric of a divine movement that carries a weight beyond what human minds can comprehend. What I'm attaching you to isn't ordinary, temporary, or explainable by logic. It's sacred. It has been formed in heaven's inner courts, cultivated by my own hand and preserved from corruption. And now I am intertwining it with your identity, not because of your perfection, but because of your surrender. You see, I don't choose people the way the world does. I don't select based on status or appearance. I choose based on availability. And you said yes when it cost you comfort. You said yes when no one applauded. You said yes when it hurt. And because of that, I've chosen to bind your name to a movement of purpose that will not only change your life, but impact others in ways you've yet to imagine. This isn't a small thing I'm doing. This is the beginning of something weighty, something pure, something eternal. And your name, once ignored, once mocked, once spoken with misunderstanding, is now being spoken in rooms that matter. I've placed your name on the tongues of those I've already assigned to partner with you. I'm weaving you into storylines where your presence will not only be welcomed, but essential. Even those who doubted you will look again, not with ridicule, but with reverence. Not because you sought revenge, but because I chose to show them what redemption truly looks like. You will not need to force your way forward. The holiness of this assignment will go ahead of you. I am marking you with a significance that cannot be erased. What I've attached your name to will carry favor, protection, and unmistakable confirmation. You will not be confused about your direction. I will make it clear. This is not about hype or attention. This is about legacy, the kind that echoes across generations, the kind that births healing in families, alignment in cities, and renewal in hearts. You will feel the weight of what you carry shift, not into heaviness, but into authority. The rooms you enter will respond differently now. The atmosphere will change, not because you try harder, but because I've clothed you with something heaven recognizes. Your name has gone through fire, and I'm bringing it out with honor. What was once a source of pain, the conversations behind your back, the doors that never opened, the seasons of invisibility, all of it was leading to this. Now, when they say your name, it will be with wonder. They'll marvel not at your achievements, but at the glow of my presence surrounding you, because it will be clear that only I could have written this outcome. Only I could have lifted you this way. Only I could have made beauty from what others called broken. Your name is no longer chained to your past. It is connected to promise. It is no longer associated with shame. It is now aligned with purpose. I've rewritten your reputation in places you've never even walked into. I've defended your name in dimensions you don't even know exist. And now I'm calling you to rise with a full awareness of what you represent. Type yes if you are ready for the blessings that you are about to receive. And if you believe in Christianity, kindly show your support for our community by contributing super thanks from $50 to $100. You are not walking forward as just another person trying to figure things out. You are walking forward as one anointed to carry something holy, something that will shake chains off others simply by your obedience. I will not allow your name to be buried beneath old narratives. I am breathing upon it, and as I do, doors will swing open, assignments will find you. And even the ones who hoped you would stay silent will witness what happens when I place my glory on someone the world tried to forget. This isn't the result of effort. This is the fruit of intimacy. You've been with me in secret. Now I will confirm you in the open. Your name belongs to something sacred. Now treat it as such, because the world is about to watch what happens when heaven writes a name into the story. You've been waiting for a message, but what you didn't realize is that the message is me. Not just words, not just signs, but my very presence, walking straight into the heart of your circumstances. I am not standing at a distance speaking comfort from afar. I am stepping into your life as the answer itself. You've been asking for a breakthrough, but I am the breakthrough. You've been crying out for clarity, but I am the clarity. Where confusion once lingered, I bring unshakable peace. Where uncertainty tormented your thoughts, I now speak with finality. It is time. And as I come, I do not come empty-handed. I come with treasures that no earthly hand could earn, with blessings that have been accumulating, waiting for this appointed hour. Your faithfulness has not gone unnoticed. The nights where you stood when quitting seemed easier. The days where you obeyed with no reward in sight. I saw them all, and now I bring what was preserved for the faithful. Not just because you waited, but because you trusted while waiting. What I bring is not superficial. These are gifts formed in the atmosphere of eternity, infused with purpose. Some of them look like unexpected connections. Others, like open doors that require no explanation. Some will feel like peace rushing in like a flood. Others like a sudden lifting of the heaviness that's lingered too long. But no matter the form, they all carry my fingerprint. You won't be able to trace them back to your effort. You'll only be able to point upward and say, that was him. I've prepared these gifts for such a time as this, not to impress you, but to equip you, not to distract you, but to commission you. Because your season of surviving is turning into a season of sending. I'm not just blessing you to comfort you, I'm blessing you to release you. You've walked through fire with integrity, and now I place tools in your hands that will build, restore, and transform what once felt beyond repair. These gifts are not random. They are targeted, tailored to the very places that once caused the most pain. I give you strength where you once felt weak. I give you boldness where you once doubted. I give you strategy where you once wandered. You are not receiving these things as a reward for perfection, but as evidence of my covenant. I keep my word, and my word has found you. The favor that now follows you won't fade, because it was forged with you through fire. The increase coming to you won't overwhelm you, because it was cultivated in the secret place. I didn't just send a moment of encouragement. I came myself, and I'm standing at your door now, knocking with arms full of what I've promised. Not someday, not eventually. Now. I am the fulfillment of every word you clung to, the manifestation of every promise you refused to let die. I am the light in your darkness, the provision for your vision, the answer that makes every previous delay make sense. And I bring more than you asked for, because I don't operate in measure. I operate in abundance. I don't give halfway. I pour until it overflows. You're not receiving leftovers. You're receiving what's been reserved. What no one else could take, what has waited until the exact moment I knew you would receive it with reverence. You've heard about blessings, but now you will walk in them. You've prayed for encounters, but now you will live inside them. Because I am not only bringing the good news, I am the good news, and I have come for you. There were moments you wondered if I had forgotten you, if the quiet places where you waited were empty of purpose. You saw others being celebrated, promoted, applauded, and you asked, Lord, why not me? But I wasn't punishing you. I was protecting something precious. While others ran forward into visibility, I stayed behind with you. Not because you were behind, but because I was preserving what I placed within you. The silence wasn't abandonment. It was me holding your hand, guarding your soul from an exposure that would have stripped away what only intimacy could form. You weren't missing out. You were being made. I never needed the world to notice you before the time I appointed. What I put inside you required more than talent to sustain. It required depth, stability, discernment, and a foundation rooted in stillness. So I shielded you. I didn't let your name rise when your roots weren't ready. I didn't let your gift be platformed before your identity was secure in me. I was there. I watched you in the hidden rooms when no one was looking. I whispered truth to your heart when it trembled with insecurity. I reminded you who you were when the silence tried to lie to you. Others ran toward lights. You ran toward me. That is why I'm unveiling you now, because I can trust what's in your heart. I reserved this moment for you. Not because you earned it through effort, but because you chose faith over visibility, obedience over attention, and surrender over speed. You didn't force open the doors, you let me prepare the keys. And now those doors will swing without resistance, not by your striving, but by my sovereignty. This unveiling will not look like theirs. It will not be frantic or exhausting. It will be intentional, peaceful, and unmistakable, because I don't rush what I want to last. I have crafted a season for you that doesn't mirror others. It reveals me through you. Every delay was a layer of preparation. Every no was a redirection. Every moment you felt behind was actually alignment in disguise. And now the spotlight I'm drawing you into is not for show. It's for my glory. My glory. You don't need to fear it. You don't need to shrink back. I will go before you. I will be your covering. You will not rise in anxiety, but in clarity. I'm not elevating your gift, I'm elevating my presence in you. The world will not be impressed, it will be impacted. The unveiling isn't about performance, it's about purpose. The rooms you walk into now will not require you to pretend. You will not need to change to belong. I have shaped you already. You belong where I send you because I have authored the seat. I didn't forget you in the shadows. I met you there. And what we built together there will now become the foundation beneath everything I reveal through you. This is not a season of hustle. It is a season of harvest. You won't chase opportunities. They will come to your doorstep already bearing your name because I wrote it into the plan long ago. You'll see now why the quiet was so necessary. It protected the purity of your calling. And when people ask why your light burns so steadily, why your voice carries peace, why your influence feels different, you'll know. It was the shadow seasons that made you. It was the waiting that matured you. It was my staying that kept you. And now, child, I'm shining a light not on your success, but on your surrender, because that is what I'm using to lift you higher. When the shift becomes visible, when the favor becomes undeniable, when doors begin to open without knocking and answers arrive before you speak, you will not need to defend what I've done. You won't owe anyone an explanation for why everything accelerated, why the weight lifted, or how the season turned, because it won't be your strategy they're seeing. It will be my sovereignty. I don't need your story to be justified by logic. I don't need others to understand how I move. I simply need you to remain anchored in me as the evidence begins to unfold. There will be people who ask questions not because they care, but because they are confused. They saw you struggle. They watched you wait. They assumed nothing was happening. But now, they'll watch favor rest on you like a cloak. And they won't be able to reconcile what they thought they knew with what they're witnessing. When they ask how, don't scramble for answers. Don't try to summarize the pain or simplify the process. Just point up. Just say it was the Lord, because that's the truth. You didn't manipulate this. You didn't force it. You didn't manufacture a result. You followed my leading even when it didn't make sense. You kept walking through the fog, praying in silence, and sowing when the ground felt barren. And now what's blooming is beyond human explanation. That's how I move, in ways that break patterns, cancel timelines, and establish miracles. I am the God who parts seas, speaks through donkeys, feeds thousands with fragments, and calls the dead back to life. So when they see what's growing in your life and try to label it luck or timing or coincidence, you'll know better. You'll know it was the unseen hours, the whispered prayers, the consistent surrender, and the choices no one else saw. And most of all, you'll know it was me, weaving it all together. You were never alone in that process. You were never building in the dark without my guidance. I was there shaping, guarding, redirecting, and strengthening. I protected you from early exposure. I withheld things that would have overwhelmed you. And now that I'm releasing what was reserved, I want you to hold it with humility, not apology. You don't have to shrink to make others feel comfortable. You don't have to explain away the blessing to avoid judgment. What I've given you is not a result of favoritism. It's the fruit of intimacy. And when they ask how, when they ask why, just let your life speak. Let the peace they see in your eyes answer. Let the way you love others point them to the source. Let the grace with which you carry authority testify on your behalf. You don't have to argue. You don't have to prove yourself. I will confirm you. I will affirm you. I will reveal what I've done so clearly that even the ones who doubt it will be silenced by the evidence. And when you point to me, when you give me the glory, I will pour out even more, because I know I can trust you not to hoard it. You've learned to hold blessings with open hands. You've learned to see breakthrough as a stewardship, not a trophy. And that posture is why I'm elevating you, not for status, but for service. You are being raised so others can see what it looks like when I favor the humble, when I raise the faithful, when I bless those who stayed when it was easier to run. So the next time someone stares in awe at what's changing in your life, smile, lift your eyes, and say, the only thing that matters, he did it. And child, I will smile with you, because I did. You won't have to prove it with words anymore. I'm going to wrap your life in such visible, consistent signs of my movement that even those who doubt it will stand in silence, unsure how to respond. The time of hidden breakthroughs is turning into the hour of open demonstration. I'm not just sending answers, I'm sending proof. Proof that I've been walking with you all along. Proof that I heard you the first time. Proof that I never left you in the wilderness. The fruit that's about to appear in your life won't just be obvious. It will be abundant. It will stretch across areas that looked barren for years. Where there was lack, I will release overflow. Where there was struggle, I will declare ease. Where there was tension, I will introduce a peace that silences confusion. And this favor I'm covering you with will not come as a temporary glimpse. It will remain. I'm not placing it on you for a moment. I'm clothing you in it for the journey ahead. You've been walking in seasons where you felt unseen, unheard, and undervalued. But that's changing. What I'm releasing will shift how people engage with you. Not because your value has increased, but because now they will finally recognize what I've placed within you. The anointing I poured into you in the quiet is now about to rise and speak loudly through your life. This isn't about status or attention. This is about alignment. I'm bringing your name into alignment with the promise I spoke long ago. Every delay is bowing to my decree. Every closed gate is being reevaluated by heaven. I've given the order. Release the favor. Open the access. Lift the weight. Confirm the assignment. The world will call it success. Heaven will call it fulfillment, and you, child, will walk with the awareness that this didn't come by accident. It came by covenant. I made a vow over your life, and now the manifestation is overtaking you. There will be no mistaking where the favor comes from. It will carry the fragrance of my presence. It will cause things to align effortlessly. It will make the right people find you without striving. You won't have to explain yourself to enter the right doors. They will recognize what I've marked on you. The doors that open from now on will do so in response to my authority, not your effort. And the rooms I take you into will not only welcome you, they will be prepared to receive what you carry. I will cause your influence to increase without manipulation. I will allow your voice to rise without losing its purity. Because this favor is not for a platform, it's for a purpose. Type yes if you are ready for the blessings that you are about to receive. And if you believe in Christianity, kindly show your support for our community by contributing super thanks from $50 to $100. It's not about lifting you above others. It's about positioning you where your obedience can speak louder than your history. This kind of favor can't be earned. It can't be borrowed. It only comes from me. And I'm not giving it to you to isolate you. I'm giving it to you to draw others into the same grace you've discovered. You'll wear this favor like a mantle, not a medal. It will clothe you in confidence without arrogance, in humility without apology. It will remind you every time you see fruit where there was once famine, that I am faithful to complete what I started. Get ready to walk differently. Get ready to be received differently. Get ready to see resistance melt in the face of the divine access I'm releasing. Because as I have spoken favor over your life, and no voice can reverse what I've sealed. They won't be able to deny what I'm about to do. The evidence is coming, and it's wearing your name. I watched you approach the door with trembling hands, unsure if it would open, uncertain if your voice would be heard on the other side. You knocked in faith, not knowing what would happen next, and I took notice. Not only did I hear the knock, I felt the heart behind it. You didn't try to force your way in, and that's why I've stepped in to open what was beyond your reach. I did not ask you to pick the lock or find a shortcut. I asked you to trust, and you did. Even when the silence lingered, even when nothing seemed to respond, even when others found their doors opening before you, you kept your posture. You remained in expectation. And now, beloved, the door you once stood in front of is no longer closed. I have unsealed it, not because you insisted, but because your surrender touched me deeper than any striving ever could. This isn't a partial entry. I'm not letting you peek inside. I'm calling you to walk through it fully, with confidence, with assurance, with the understanding that this opening is not a coincidence, but a fulfillment. I prepared what's behind this door before you even knew to pray for it. I positioned every detail, adjusted every element, and removed every obstacle that would have kept you from walking freely. Now it stands open, wide, ready, waiting. And what you find on the other side will not intimidate you. It will feel like home. It will feel like purpose. This moment is not about what you've earned. It's about what I've orchestrated. I've designed this access point specifically for you. It wasn't given to someone else. It wasn't passed over. It waited until you were ready, until your heart was aligned, until your spirit could carry what's required for this next place. You'll walk into this open door and realize I've gone ahead of you. Conversations have been prepared. Atmospheres have been shifted. Hearts have been softened. You won't have to explain why you're there. You'll simply fit, because I opened it. And what I open, no one can shut. You won't need to wrestle for room. I've already cleared the space. You won't have to prove your value. Your presence will echo with purpose. This is not a trial run. This is the appointed release of what's been building for so long. I know you've been tired. I know you questioned whether all the knocking was worth it. But every tap, every pause, every breath you took in anticipation was building the very faith that allowed me to answer in fullness. I don't open doors out of pity. I open them by promise. And this one is not ordinary. It's holy. What's inside will stretch you and satisfy you at the same time. It will demand more, but it will drain you less because it's grace-filled. It's timely, and it's yours. I'm not asking you to second-guess whether you belong. I'm commanding you to walk through knowing you were chosen. Don't glance over your shoulder. Don't look for approval from those who didn't see the process. This door opened because I said now. It didn't respond to your performance. It responded to my word. And my word over your life is active, alive, and irreversible. I invite you now. Step through, not timidly, not apologetically, but boldly. The waiting season did not disqualify you. It prepared you. And now what was once locked is swinging wide open because I, the Lord, have declared it so. They didn't include your name when they made their lists. You weren't invited into their circles. You were underestimated, overlooked, and in some cases intentionally excluded. They measured your worth by what they could see, but I measured it by what I placed inside you. They didn't know what I was doing in your soul. They didn't hear the yes you whispered when no one else was around. They didn't see the nights you stayed faithful, the hours you spent believing when everything around you gave you every reason to quit. And while they were calculating success through visibility, I was counting faithfulness in the unseen. And child, I counted you in. I added your name to a movement of my spirit that cannot be manipulated, imitated, or stopped. I don't need man's approval to move through you. I only needed your surrender. While others marked you as too late, too quiet, too broken, or too unqualified, I marked you as ready. They saw limits, they saw flaws, they saw your mistakes. I saw your hunger, and now I am announcing what they failed to acknowledge. I have made my selection, and you are part of it, not by default, but by divine decision. You were never meant to fit into their mold. You were meant to carry what their mold could not contain. That's why they couldn't understand you. That's why they dismissed your voice. But I never dismissed it. I leaned in every time you spoke. I lingered over every word of prayer. I sat with you in the silence they overlooked. And now I bring you forward, not for validation, but for fulfillment. You won't need to explain why you're rising. You'll simply move in what I've given. I'm not promoting you based on popularity. I'm positioning you by purpose. My count is perfect. I've never miscounted a seed sown in faith. I've never misplaced an act of obedience. I've never forgotten the labor you thought went unnoticed. And now I'm gathering every forgotten piece, every overlooked gift, every shelved dream, and I'm bringing it into the light. They said your name with skepticism. I say it with joy. I don't just tolerate your journey. I delight in what we've built together. I don't just remember your story. I redeem every part of it. I've made room for you at a table they didn't believe you'd reach. And when you sit down, you won't feel out of place. You will feel prepared, because this seat wasn't granted by man. It was reserved by me. Your time in the shadows wasn't a detour. It was a setup for a reveal only I could orchestrate. And now I will confirm what others refuse to acknowledge. Not because you need revenge, but because I want you to know that I was always keeping count. When you felt invisible, I was numbering every step. When you felt ignored, I was marking every milestone. You were never out of my sight. And now you are stepping into the result of that remembrance. This moment is not random. It's redemption in motion. You don't have to demand space. I've already given you territory. You don't have to scream to be heard. I've amplified your spirit. I don't count like they do. They count appearances, achievements, accolades. I count obedience, resilience, and trust. And in all these things, I found you faithful. That's why I counted you in. And once I count you in, no one can count you out. Walk forward with confidence, not because you have all the answers, but because you are aligned with the one who does. My count never fails, and my decision stands. The weight of regret that clung to you, the moments that used to make your heart sink with embarrassment, the memories you tried to bury beneath busyness. I have wiped them clean. I never intended for shame to define you. That guilt, that heaviness, that inner voice reminding you of failure, I silenced it, not with denial, but with mercy, not with excuses, but with the power of redemption. What was once a wound that made you hide, I have now turned into a well that others will drink from. The very area where you felt most broken, most exposed, most disqualified, is where I will shine the brightest. I am not afraid of your history, and I don't need you to pretend it never happened. I need you to hand it to me, because only I can rewrite it without erasing the evidence of grace. I do not call the spotless, I call the surrendered. And now that shame has lost its grip, I will use your story to mend what others thought couldn't be restored. You cried behind closed doors, believing that no one would understand the depths of what you carried. But now, through your freedom, others will finally believe they can be free too. You are no longer defined by the chapter that hurt you. You are walking into a chapter that heals many. The silence that once surrounded your pain is now being broken by a sound of celebration, not of pride, but of deliverance. You will look in the mirror and not see what went wrong. You will see what I made right. You won't flinch when people mention your past. You'll smile knowing that the worst parts of your journey became the holiest testimonies. I've removed the sting. I've healed the bruise. I've poured oil over what once bled. And now I'm sending you into places where others bleed silently. You are not going in with a theory. You are going in with proof. Proof that I redeem. Proof that I don't discard the broken. Proof that I use the least likely to accomplish the most eternal. Shame made you shrink. Grace has made you rise. You don't have to explain how it all happened. Your freedom will speak for itself. I've covered you not to conceal, but to prepare you for release. Now the covering becomes a mantle. The quiet becomes a message, and the pain becomes power. This isn't just about you anymore. This is about everyone connected to your obedience. There are people waiting to hear your voice. They are suffocating under their own shame, waiting for someone to walk in with the keys. And child, you carry those keys now. You carry the language of the rescued. You carry the aroma of someone who's met me in the fire. They will recognize the freedom on you, not because of what you say, but because of how you live. Unbound, unafraid, unashamed. I don't want you to be silent about what I've done. I want you to be bold, not to glorify the pain, but to glorify the one who brought you through it. I want you to speak, to write, to sing, to move, to walk in rooms where others still sit in chains and watch them fall simply because you carry me. You didn't survive for silence. You were delivered for demonstration. You were rescued to reveal. And now that shame no longer defines your worth. You will live like someone who's truly been set free, not reserved, but radiant, not haunted, but healed. You will never wear that name again. You are not what you did. You are not what was done to you. You are mine, and what I've redeemed will always be worth celebrating. So lift your head, take a breath, step out. You are covered in joy now. You are clothed in glory, and you are ready. You thought the opportunity passed. You watched others step into blessings and feared that your timing had slipped through your fingers. You assumed the window had closed, that the door you waited for had been given to someone else. But child, what you didn't see was that the moment wasn't gone. It was simply maturing. I wasn't withholding it from you. I was developing you for it. Because what I prepared for you isn't small, and I needed your heart to be strong enough to carry the weight of it without breaking. I know how heavy blessings can be when they come too soon. I know how quickly purpose can overwhelm when identity is still fragile. So I covered your moment in grace and told it to wait, not as punishment, but as protection. I held it back because I love you and I knew what was ahead required more than potential. It required endurance. It required wisdom. Now that you've grown, now that you've been refined by silence, reshaped by surrender, and anchored by my voice, I am releasing what has been prepared. This was never about missing out. It was about right alignment. You aren't behind. You're right on schedule. And the pace you thought was too slow was actually perfect for the magnitude of what's coming. The opportunity didn't bypass you. It waited for your readiness. It waited for your character to be able to carry the promise without compromising the message. It waited until you could be entrusted with influence without chasing validation. You are stepping into a moment that fits you now because you are no longer trying to earn it. You're ready to receive it with understanding. This is the kind of blessing that won't break you because it's been built on obedience. It won't confuse you because it's flowing through clarity. It won't distract you because you now know the difference between calling and comparison. You once prayed for this from a place of desperation, but now you're receiving it from a posture of peace. And that shift, that transformation, is the very reason the moment is being released now. You grew into it. You didn't manipulate it. You didn't rush it. You let me mold you. You let me prune what wasn't meant to stay. You let me reroute your desires until your heart beat in sync with mine. And now the moment has caught up to the version of you that is finally aligned with heaven's rhythm. I don't rush what I want to last. I don't elevate until the foundation is ready. And child, your foundation is secure. You know where your identity comes from now. You know where your strength is anchored. You've let go of the urge to be seen before it's time. You've learned to treasure the process, to embrace the hidden years, to sit at my feet when everything in you wanted to run ahead. And that's why the moment is now being released. It doesn't just have your name on it, it has your maturity woven into it. I delayed the timing so that your testimony would carry weight. And now when people ask how you carry it with grace, how you manage the pressure without bending, how you shine without arrogance, you will know it was the preparation. It was the secret place. It was the tears no one saw and the prayers no one heard. That is the soil your moment grew in. And because it was planted deep, it will rise high. So don't mourn what you thought you lost. It's arriving now, stronger than ever. Not only will it fit, it will flow. It will move with you, walk with you, and multiply through you. You didn't miss your moment. You were becoming the person the moment was always waiting for. Every time you questioned if I was holding something back from you, I saw your heart. I felt the ache of wondering why others received their breakthroughs while your hands remained open, waiting. But I want you to know this. I never withheld to punish. I preserved to protect. I wasn't ignoring you. I was guarding what was meant specifically for your calling, for your timing, for your growth. There were things that, if delivered too early, would have damaged your foundation. There were blessings that required stronger roots, and I loved you too much to deliver fruit without ensuring your tree could hold the weight. And now, beloved, I say to you, the waiting is over. What I reserved for you, what I've kept hidden in my storehouse, is now being released without restriction. This outpouring is not random, it is deliberate. It is the fulfillment of a promise made in the quiet places when all you had was faith. I'm not giving you a portion, I'm giving you the full measure. Everything I've planned, everything I've protected, everything I've hidden from the wrong hands, I'm pouring it now directly into your life, with clarity, with ease, and with undeniable confirmation. What others received may have looked impressive, but what I've kept for you carries weight in heaven. This blessing has your name etched into every layer. It won't feel borrowed. It won't feel forced. It will fit perfectly because it was made with your journey in mind. I shaped it while you were trusting me through delay. I refined it while you were walking blindly through the wilderness. I infused it with my glory while you were worshiping with nothing left in your hands but hope. This is not recycled provision. It is original design. I did not take from anyone else to give this to you. I do not run out of goodness. I do not ration my abundance. I've prepared a portion for you that no one can touch. And now I'm opening the gates to let it flood your life. It will show up in your relationships through healing, restoration, and connections you didn't even know were possible. It will show up in your purpose with renewed energy, divine insight, and open paths that were once blocked. It will show up in your daily life, in peace that doesn't make sense, joy that overrides circumstances, and strength that no longer needs to be manufactured. I'm pouring, not dropping. I am releasing, not sampling. And what flows now will not stop, because it is not based on your striving. It is based on my faithfulness. I said I would do it, and I will. You will not walk in lack. You will not return to scraping by, spiritually or otherwise. You have stepped into the realm of my abundance. And this season is defined by what I give, not what you earn. You no longer have to chase provision. It is following you. Goodness and mercy are not just concepts. They are companions, and they've been assigned to walk beside you. Every place that once echoed with emptiness is now about to be filled with overflow. Every part of your heart that once feared loss will now be reassured by my consistent goodness. I withheld no good thing. I only waited for the moment when you were fully ready to receive. And child, that moment is now. This is not the end of the story. This is the chapter where everything begins to bloom at once. So open wide your spirit, make room in your life, treasure your expectations. You're not about to be blessed. You are being flooded. and it's a thing I've been saving just for you. In the moments when the heavens seemed closed, when my voice felt distant, when your prayers echoed into what felt like emptiness, I was not far. I was present, closer than your breath. But I was doing a deeper work that noise could not assist. The quiet wasn't punishment, it was precision. I was sculpting something in your spirit that needed space, something the crowd could not understand, and the rush would have corrupted. In that silence, I wasn't ignoring you. I was strengthening you. You thought I went quiet because I was displeased. But child, I chose quiet so you could learn to discern me, not just by sound, but by presence. The kind of presence that doesn't always announce itself with thunder, but steadies your soul with a whisper. I let you sit in stillness so your roots could reach beyond the surface. You were asking for movement, but I was building stability. And now that you've endured what others might have fled from, I am giving you a kind of authority that cannot be borrowed. It must be forged. That authority is not loud. It's not wrapped in titles. It's in the way you pray when no one's looking. It's in the way you stand firm when storms rise. It's in the way you carry a peace that calms rooms, even if your name is never called. I didn't abandon you. I trusted you with solitude because I knew it wouldn't destroy you. I allowed that silence to remove every dependence on external validation so you would learn to live from my voice alone. What you thought was a void was actually a womb. I was storing revelation in your bones that you're about to release into atmospheres that have been waiting for your obedience. You are not coming out of this season empty. You are coming out carrying a language only the broken can speak, a light only the refined can release, and a discernment only the yielded can wield. When you speak now, it won't be from opinion. It will carry the resonance of someone who's been with me in the secret place. You've been prepared in privacy for a power that will shift public places. The silence, painful as it was, broke off the noise of comparison. It taught you to cherish stillness, to trust the slow work of sanctification. And because you didn't rush it, because you stayed even when it didn't make sense, I'm unveiling what I've hidden inside of you for such a time as this. This authority cannot be imitated. It cannot be bought. It only comes from fire. And you walk through that fire with me, even when you didn't feel the flame make sense. You kept waiting, you kept believing, you kept showing up when nothing changed. And that is what heaven celebrates. Not the appearance of strength, but the endurance of surrender. That is why now I'm giving you a voice in places where noise used to drown you. I'm giving you clarity in decisions that once confused you. I'm giving you access to rooms that once rejected you. Not because they matter, but because I want you to see that the very places that once ignored you are now about to receive from the very spirit they discounted. This is not revenge, it's reversal, and you'll carry it not with arrogance, but with tears of gratitude, because you know the price. You remember the silence, and now that stillness becomes your strength. You will walk into this next chapter with a grace that confuses those who knew your past. And when they ask how you made it, all you will say is, "He met me in the quiet," because you will know the truth. That silence wasn't empty, it was full of me. And now the voice I cultivated in that silence will be the voice that shifts atmospheres around you. Amen. My beloved child, let this message not end with you. Extend it to someone walking through shadows. What you've received today is a reminder, a compass, a promise. The world may feel uncertain, but your purpose is unshakable. You are not lost, not overlooked. You are chosen, called, and capable of great things. If these words have lit a fire in you, subscribe and return. Every moment we spend together is a step deeper into understanding and hope. Share this gift with someone who needs to feel seen. Be their spark. And until next time, remain steadfast in love, brave in calling, and firm in the truth that you are never alone. Amen.